Hello and welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at this thing here. This is the ISDT D2 smart charger that's just come out. Now a lot of you have been asking me to have a look at some of the cheaper chargers around, and this one isn't as cheap as I would have really liked, but it's a very nice charger for the money. It has a huge range of AC inputs, so if you're in America, Europe, Brazil, whatever, you can plug it in and it will work. You don't have to panic and worry about making sure it's set to 110 or 240 volts. It has a dual fan cooling system. We'll see the fan outputs in the back in a second, and it's actually quite a weighty thing. It's over 500 grams. The majority of that seemed to be in the very weighty power supply and the cooling system inside. From all the initial impressions and the testing I've done here, it seems to be built very well indeed. The charge current is available from 0.1 to 10 amps on either of the outputs. Discharge current is from 0 to about 1.3 amps. Maximum charge capacity is a whopping 200 watts. Maximum discharge capacity for each of the batteries is about 5 watts. 2 to 6S balance charges. Supported battery types, we'll see it in a second as I take you through the menu. Display is 320 by 240 and shows you at a glance exactly what's going on with both of the dual outputs. It's a nice colour screen and the colour changes depending on what's going on. You'll see that in a second. And it's a very nice tabletop charger. Now we've looked at a couple of ISDT things before. First one was actually the Q6. This is something that I use a lot. The Q6 is this little DC powered single charger. I take this everywhere with me when I go to fly, usually with a great big whacking pack, and that allows me to charge things at the field and top up batteries and check the status of batteries and things as I'm flying around. And I also looked at the little ISDT battery checker logger thing that I've actually made a keyring adapter for that is on the side of my flight bag. Now in terms of what comes in the case, you don't get an awful lot apart from the charger itself and the power lead, and apart from that you get a little manual. The manual itself is very basic. It just kind of tells you how to start and stop stuff, but then to be honest the interface in this is exactly the same as the Q6 and it's very intuitive and easy to navigate. So let me grab a couple of batteries, let's plug this in and I'll show you how it works. Now first thing we need to do is plug it in. As soon as we plug it in it starts to power up, and again would have been great to have kind of an on-off switch at the back here so you can have it safe. So you can hear that big noise from the fan, and there we're running. Now what we'll do then is we're going to plug a couple of batteries in. This is one of my 1300 milliamp hour packs from one of my kind of quick little nimble quads. So let's plug this one in first. There we go. And now what we're going to do then is to select the individual port. You can press the button by the port and it shows you what's going on. This one's reasonably charged actually. It's 4.14 and 4.15 volts, which is pretty spot on. I've checked this pack with a multimeter and that's about right. If you press the switch briefly, then what will happen is it will give you all of the options. So in terms of the tasks, we've got charge, discharge and storage. If you have the balance tap connected, it'll try and do a balance charge. If you haven't got the balance tap connected, it'll warn you but still let you charge the pack. Particularly handy for doing nickel hydride and those kind of things as well. Let's select charge, select the battery type. We've got high voltage LiPo, lithium ion, LiFe, lead batteries and nickel hydride or CD batteries. Use LiPo. Cell voltage, you can actually select the target cell voltage for the end. Again, that changes depending on where you start. Interestingly, on this one, when I first started to test this out, it was defaulted to 4.1 volts, which it did a beautiful job for, but obviously I want 4.2. The cell count, it automatically updates that. This is a 4S pack. Current setting is 1.3 amps. So let's click Start Task and then off it goes. I'll zoom in a second, hopefully you'll be able to see the screen a little bit clearer. But what you can see, if I just scroll through here, is once it's charged a little bit, it will start to also give me the milliohm resistances for the individual cells that it's having a go at. Now let's charge this other pack here. This is a very new pack. Again, there's only one way for you to put the balance tap in. This, you can tell it's a new pack, hasn't even got the warning off the XT60 connector. There we go. So let's pop that in. Select 2. Again, you can see it's automatically detected. It's a 3S pack showing us the 3 voltage levels, which is nice. Let's press the roller briefly. We're going to go for charge. Current setting on this one, let's actually bump that up. Let's go for 2.2. Start task. So there we are. We are now charging both batteries at the same time. One is just about charged because we're just topping this little guy up, and this guy isn't. So while this is just going on, let me just put this and zoom in slightly. Hopefully that will allow you to see the screen just that little bit better. So there we are. Hopefully that is a little bit easier to read. So if I press the button above the number 1 charging battery, there's all the details about what's going on with it, and I can scroll down on the right hand side and see exactly what is going on. And if I press the button by number 2, again it will show me the same thing. So this new pack that I'm charging up, 3.8 volts a cell, it's going to do a 3S charge. The nice thing is when it's putting some decent current through a battery, it will give you the milliamp ohm, let's just go back to that, resistances inside the battery that you're playing with. And we can see it's a very new battery here. We're kind of 7.9, between 6.5 and 7.9 milliohms, which is actually very good shape. So that means that you can charge 2 batteries, different types of chemistry on the same charger. And the last thing I'll show you then, if you press and hold the roller button on the right hand side, it takes you into the system menu. But interestingly, it stops the charging when it does that. And then you can see the backlight, volume, completion tone. I have that on repeat, just so if I have just wandered out to make myself a cup of coffee and it does finish, I'll hear it and I can come back in. I never recommend leaving a battery charger unattended. Split display is automatic. Language is English. In here is how you update the firmware. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm really disappointed that they haven't put that USB connector on the side. They're using their special version of it. I've actually custom made a cable here to do that. And so if you're interested in me sharing how that all works and how to do the upgrades on the ISDT stuff, then do let me know and I'll make another video. Then you've got the system information, system self-check and back as well. Now let's just start these charges again. So go into here, briefly press and start task, go into number 2, briefly press start task, and there we are, we're back charging again. So in summary, this is a very capable, very nice little charger that seems nice and accurate and seems to do a good job for the batteries. In the charging that I've done here, I've been pretty impressed with the way it works, and it's small enough that it actually just sits on the desktop and you can just kind of have it by your side as you're working away, and it's nice and compact. There are a couple of things that I would just talk about here. Again, you can see that battery is just coming in to finish. So this one here on the left that we're just topping up, it's going into green as it's finishing up. And the colour indications here, grey when nothing's happening, amber when things are going on, green when it's kind of finishing up. I think it goes blue, that there it is, when it's completely finished. That's the little repeating noise when it's done. So let me just stop that and then it won't be going off. Only 2 things that you need to probably be aware of. First of all is there isn't a DC connection on this. I'm really sad about that because I use the small Q6 Plus that we had a look at previously as my field charger. That's great. I use one of those huge lithium ion packs, plug into the side of that, and that allows me to top up batteries even if I'm nowhere near an AC outlet. It would have been great to have the DC input on this, so I could have taken this to the field as well. It allows me to charge 2 packs if I had a large enough battery, or maybe a lead acid battery or something in the back of the car. The other thing that I wish it had was that USB cable here at the side, which would have made upgrading a lot easier. Here's the cable that I've actually made up to do the upgrades. Again, if you're interested in me showing how that all works, then do let me know and I'll make a video specifically around it. So hopefully that's been interesting for those of you that have asked about some cheaper chargers. This one isn't as cheap as some that are out there, but the fact you can charge 2 batteries at different amperage rates with different chemistry and cut your prep time in half compared to using something like an older iMax B6. If you are like me and you have lots of batteries for lots of different type of models when you go out, this is definitely worth a look. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video, and particularly for watching right to the very end. We try and release a video on Tuesday and Friday, and sometimes we'll release 1 or 2 extra ones in a week as well. All of the videos on the channel are organised into easy to use playlists, so do have a look in there, because if you're interested in a subject, we organise all the videos on that subject so you can find them easily all together in one place. If you like what we're doing, then please like and subscribe and tell others about the channel so they can come and join as well. We're available in all of the usual social media places, particularly in places like Instagram, Twitter, and we also share all of our 3D designs on Thingiverse.